Joined now by Dr. Anthony Fauci, the director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, America's top expert on that subject. Dr. Fauci, thank you for joining us this morning. We've reported on these latest numbers here in the U.S., and we're starting to see this community spread, as you've been warning. I know there's so much we don't know, but help everyone set expectations. How many more states and how many more people are likely to be affected in the United States?
You know, George, you really can't give any kind of reasonable guess except to say it very likely will be more. And the reason we say that is the very fact and concept that you have community spread means that the source of these infections are not entirely known. People are cropping up in the community with infections, and you can't really trace where they got it. So the best you can do, and this is what the CDC is doing together with the state and local health authorities, is to then take that person who you know is infected and do the contact tracing to try and get the individuals with whom they came in contact with. But a prediction of the numbers, it's very, very difficult to do that accurately, Joe.
And I know you're ramping up the testing as well, but is it time to start, or maybe you have, surveillance testing, even trying to capture people who aren't showing symptoms so we can get a better sense of how far it's spread in the community?
That's a very good point, George, and that's exactly what's starting to be done right now. Now that we have many, many more tests that will be available, unlike a little while ago, what's going to be happening is that people are going to get the kind of screening where they may come in with a respiratory illness, and if they don't have the flu, test them and see. And if you do that, you may get a feel if there are people under the radar who are there in the community who do have coronavirus. That's going to be markedly ratcheted up by the CDC.
Another big question is how this is going to be treated, whether a vaccine is going to be available. President Trump spoke out on that yesterday. Let's look.
We had a great meeting today with a lot of the great companies, and they're going to have vaccines, I think, relatively soon. And they're going to have something that makes you better, and that's going to actually take place, we think, even sooner. So it's a lot of good things are happening.
Well, what exactly is the president talking about there? When do we expect to have a vaccine, and what is this treatment he seems to be talking about?
Well, two things, George. First, the vaccine, with regard to initial testing for safety, we'll likely do that within the next month and a half, 6 weeks or so. But once you determine safety, that's going to take at least 3 or 4 months. If you then establish it in order to prove that it works, it's going to take another 6 to 8 months.
So as we discussed
yesterday. So we're at least a year away, George. The idea what the president was saying about the treatment is true, because there are treatments now that are being tested in randomized controlled trials in China as well as here in the United States, for example, at the University of Nebraska. We could know within a period of a few months, maybe in early summer, late spring, whether those therapies work. If they do, unlike a vaccine, you could make them immediately available.
Dr. Fauci, thanks for joining us this morning.
Good to be with you, George.
Well, hey there, GMA fans. Robin Roberts here. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Lots of great stuff here. So go on, click the subscribe button right over here to get more of awesome videos and content from GMA every day, anytime. We thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the morning on GMA.